The porcelain cup exploded against the marble floor, the sound cracking through the cafe like a gunshot. Amara didn't feel the burn at first. She only noticed her hands shaking when espresso streamed down her wrist, scalding skin already numb from fear. The landline pressed to her ear felt heavier than it should, like it carried a sentence instead of a voice. "Miss me, Amma." Her lungs forgot how to work. Outside the glass windows, a black SUV slowed to a crawl. Too deliberate. Too familiar. Circling like it had all the time in the world. Behind the pastry case, Molly clutched his stuffed lion and whispered, confused and small, "Mom, why you scared?" Amara's chest collapsed inward. Because the man who broke her didn't just find her. He told her he was 3 minutes away. She turned blindly and slammed into a solid wall of a man stepping into the cafe as if he owned the air. Tall, Korean, immaculate dark suit. His eyes moved once. Burned wrist, black SUV, trembling phone. He didn't ask questions. He took the receiver from her hand. And in a calm voice that felt far more dangerous than shouting, he said, "Tell Julian Vance he just entered my territory." Amara's blood turned to ice. She hadn't even known the cafe had an owner. And she definitely didn't know the owner was rumored to be a Mafia king. Subscribe to Love and Loyalties before the truth changes everything. Das nie dollars bar giz. Amara's new life is built from rules she never breaks. No social media. No tagged photos. No old friends who might slip and mention her name. Rent paid in cash, always early, always exact. Molly answers to her last name, not his own. Even his daycare forms are rewritten twice before submission, just to make sure no thread can be pulled. She works the earliest shift at the Slate Cafe, when the city is half asleep and danger feels distant. Pacific Heights was a calculated choice. Money, police, cameras, clean sidewalks. Men like Julian don't hunt where eyes are everywhere. That's what she told herself. Every morning, she repeats the same routine. Tie her hair back. Neutral clothes. Quiet voice. Smile, but not too much. Invisible as survival. The cafe hums with low conversations about venture capital and private schools. Amara focuses on muscle memory. Grind, tamp, steam, until the air changes. It happens the second he walks in. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just a shift, like pressure dropping before a storm. Conversations soften. Someone straightens their back without knowing why. Amara looks up, and her chest tightens. The man doesn't slow at the line. Doesn't glance at the menu. He walks straight toward the counter, and then past it, stepping into employee space as if the barrier doesn't exist. As if rules are suggestions meant for other people. Her body reacts before thought. She flinches. It's small. Barely visible. But he sees it. His eyes lift to hers, sharp and assessing, and something clicks behind them. Not curiosity. Recognition. He turns his head slightly and crooks one finger. The floor manager rushes over, voice already shaking. "Yes, sir. I own this building," the man says calmly. The manager goes pale. No argument. No verification. Just a nod and silence spreading outward like ink in water. The man turns back to Amara. His voice drops. Not softer, just closer. "You're coming to my office." It isn't a request. It isn't even a threat. It sounds like something already decided. Amara follows because her legs move before fear can lock them. Molly watches from behind the pastry case, wide-eyed, clutching his stuffed lion. She forces a small nod at him. "I'm okay. Stay put." The office smells like steel and expensive wood. Floor to ceiling windows frame the bay, distant and untouchable. The man closes the door himself. He doesn't tell her to sit. He studies her instead. The way she stands near the door, the way her hands fold to keep from shaking, the way her eyes flick, not nervously, but tactically, to exits, to corners, to reflections. "You don't exist," he says. The words hit harder than shouting. No active credit history, no recent professional trail, no social footprint, no location continuity. He finally looks at her face. "You erased yourself well." Her mouth opens. Nothing comes out. Only two kinds of people do that. He continues, tone clinical. Spies or fugitives. Something inside her cracks. Not loud, not messy. Controlled damage. She swallows once. He found me before, she says quietly. Julian, he used money. People. He said next time he'd take my son. The man listens without interrupting. No judgment. No sympathy. Just attention, sharp and complete. I can't keep running, she finishes. But I can't stay unprotected either. Silence stretches. Then he sits. Running makes you predictable, he says. And men like him rely on predictability. He pauses, eyes dark. He has operated in circles I control. That should comfort her. Instead, it scares her in a different way. He opens a drawer and slides a burner phone across the desk. One number is already saved. His. If he comes, he says, finally meeting her eyes. You don't run. A beat. You call. Amara realizes, too late, that invisibility is over. And whatever this man is, protector or predator, he is now paying attention. The changes begin the next morning. Not announced. Not explained. Just there. Men appear in the café who don't order much and never look at their phones for long. One reads the same newspaper every day without turning the page. Another stands near the window, posture relaxed, eyes always tracking reflections. Cameras are adjusted. Slightly higher, slightly wider. The back exit that used to stick now closes softly, firmly, like it means it. Amara notices everything. Her body tightens the way it used to when Julian installed cameras. For safety. For a moment, nausea creeps up her spine. Being watched had once meant being owned. But this feels different. No one asks where she's going. No one checks her phone. No one follows her into the restroom or waits outside her apartment. The men don't look at her unless something shifts near her. Their attention moves outward, not inward. Protection, not surveillance. She hates that she can tell the difference. Han Wu takes his seat at the same table every morning. Corner, back to the wall, view of the entire café. He never orders, never speaks to anyone but her. Americano. He says the first day, eyes already back on the window. The second day, same. The third day, he doesn't speak at all. He simply looks at her. She brings the cup anyway. Each time, he forces proximity. Close enough that she can smell clean citrus and something sharper underneath. Close enough that her pulse betrays her calm. He never reaches for her. Never blocks her path. He just exists in her space like gravity. You flinch less, he observes one morning. She stiffens. I don't know what you mean. He looks at her over the rim of the cup. You do. Later that day, while Molly sits at a corner table coloring dinosaurs, Han Wu asks, casually, what car did he drive? Amara freezes mid, pour, black SUV. She answers after a beat. Usually rented. He liked not being traceable. Han Wu nods once. Times. When he was angry. Late. When he was pretending to be kind early. He files it away. She can almost see the calculation. Another day. Another question. Does he watch from a distance first, or announce himself? Both. She says quietly. He liked knowing I was afraid before he showed up. Han Wu's jaw tightens. Not in anger, but restraint. He never presses too hard, never rushes her answers. But he asks enough that she realizes something unsettling. He's preparing. Amara keeps telling herself to stay distant. This is temporary. Safety, not intimacy. She doesn't belong in his world of tailored suits and silent power. But her body doesn't listen. She sleeps through the night for the first time in months. No jolting awake. No phantom footsteps. Her shoulders stop hovering near her ears. Once. Only once. She laughs when Molly spills sugar packets across the counter, and the sound surprises her as much as it does Han Wu. His eyes lift at the sound. Something soft flickers there before disappearing. Molly warms to him faster than she's ready for. The child watches Han Wu openly, curious, unafraid. One afternoon, Molly's voice carries across the cafe. Mom, he looks like a superhero. Amara nearly drops a tray. Han Wu crouches slightly, meeting Molly at eye level. He doesn't smile, but his voice lowers. Superheroes protect, he says. They don't scare. Molly considers this seriously. Then steps closer to Amara, pressing into her side. Her arm comes around him instinctively, shielding and soothing at the same time. Han Wu watches the way she holds her child, like safety is a muscle she never stopped using. Later, when she brings his coffee, he says quietly, "He trusts you completely." She swallows. "I didn't give him a choice." Han Wu looks at her then. Not assessing, not calculating. "Neither did the world," he says. The words land heavier than expected. On the fourth day he reveals what he knows. Not dramatically. Not all at once. "Julian Vance," he says, stirring untouched coffee. "Tech investor. Clean image. Messy habits." Her breath catches. "How do you?" "Hey, borrowed money," Han Wu continues. "Not from banks." Her hands go cold. "Macau. Vegas. Bad tables. Worse partners." He finally meets her eyes. Men like him confuse money with power. Amara's voice is barely audible. "What does that mean?" "It means," he says calmly, "doesn't just owe you fear. He owes people like me." Something clicks into place, sharp and terrifying. Julian isn't just hunting her. He's cornered. The realization should make her feel victorious. Instead, it fills her with dread. Cornered men lash out. The cafe phone rings. The sound slices through the room. Amara's body reacts before thought. Her pulse spikes. Her fingers hesitate inches from the receiver. Han Wu doesn't move, he watches her. Waiting. She answers. Silence. Then breathing. Slow. Familiar. Intimate in the worst way. "Hello, Amma," Julian whispers. Her knees weaken. "I've been listening." He continues softly. "I like the new place. Very ambitious." She can't speak. "I'll see you soon," he says. "Don't make me wait." The line goes dead. Amara lowers the phone with shaking hands. Han Wu stands, and for the first time since she met him, his calm fractures. Not into chaos, but into something colder. "Stay here," he says. The cafe doors lock, and Amara understands. The game is no longer subtle. Julian's voice slides through the receiver like oil. Smooth. Familiar, poisonous. "So this is what you became," he says lightly. "Apron, name tag, minimum wage. All that talent, wasted steaming milk for strangers." Amara's fingers go numb around the phone. Her eyes dart to Molly, still coloring, blissfully unaware. Julian hears the silence and smiles into it. "You always hated being small," he continues. "Wes, I finally fixed that for you." Her chest tightens. "What do you want?" A soft chuckle. "What's mine?" Her stomach drops. "I should come get my son," Julian says casually. "You know how judges love stability. Money. Fathers who can provide." His voice lowers. "You don't look very stable, Amma." The room tilts. She grips the counter to stay upright. "I'm pulling up right now," he adds. "Make my cappuccino. Dry foam. Like you used to." The line clicks dead. The world rushes back all at once. Sound, light, heat. Too much. Too fast. Amara's hands start shaking violently. Her vision narrows until all she can see is the door. He's coming. Her breath stutters. Old fear takes over, brutal and efficient. Run. Hide. Disappear. She spins toward the back exit, already calculating how fast she can grab Molly. A hand closes gently but firmly around her wrist. Han Wu. She looks up at him. Panic breaking through the control she's worn like armor. "Please," she whispers. "Let me leave. Just let me get my son out first." For a moment she thinks he will. Then his face settles into something colder than anger. Still. Absolute. "No," he says. Her heart cracks. "He'll hurt us." Han Wu steps closer, lowering his voice so only she can hear him. "He already has," he says. "Running again won't undo that." Tears blur her vision. "I can't do this." He holds her gaze, unwavering. "Borrow my courage," he says quietly. "I have enough for both of us." The words cut through the panic. Not comforting, but grounding, commanding. He doesn't offer escape. He offers stance. "You stay," he continues. "Not for him. For you. He does not drag you out of this place in shame." Her knees tremble, but she nods. Han Wu signals one of the men near the door. Molly is gently escorted to the back room with juice and cartoons, unaware of the storm forming. The cafe returns to its low hum, patrons oblivious, sipping lattes and scrolling phones. The front doors swing open. Julian enters like he owns the air. He's smiling, charming, expensive coat draped perfectly, eyes already locked on Amara. "There you are," he says loudly. "I was worried you'd forgotten your manners." A few heads turn. Curiosity sparks. Julian walks straight to the counter. Too close. Always too close. His hand shoots out and clamps around her forearm, fingers digging in with practiced familiarity. "Running again," he murmurs, grip tightening. "You were always bad at goodbye." Amara gasps. The pain is sharp, grounding in the worst way. Then Julian freezes. Another hand grips his shoulder. Not tight at first, just present. Julian turns, irritation flashing, then draining. Recognition hits him like ice water. Han Wu stands behind him, expression unreadable, posture relaxed in a way that screams danger. The cafe seems to shrink around them. "Let go of her," Han Wu says calmly. Julian swallows. "This doesn't concern you." Han Wu's fingers tighten. "Not crushing. Not yet." "You're mistaken," he says. "Everything in this building concerns me." Julian's eyes flick around the room. Men in suits, doors subtly blocked, staff suddenly very still. His confidence fractures. "You," he says slowly, dread creeping in. "You're." Han Wu steps closer, voice dropping. "You borrowed money," he says. "You lost it. You tried to hide the losses by moving funds you shouldn't have touched." Julian's face drains of color. "I bought your debt this morning." Han Wu continues evenly. "Every marker. Every obligation. Every bad decision you thought no one noticed." Julian's grip on Amara loosens. Han Wu doesn't repeat himself. He simply removes Julian's hand from her arm and places himself between them. "You don't touch what's under my protection," Han Wu says. Julian's bravado collapses into desperation. "Please," he whispers. "Not here." Han Wu leans in, his voice low enough that only Julian can hear. "I own what you owe." Julian's knees nearly buckle. "Please," he repeats, voice shaking. Han Wu straightens and looks around the cafe, letting the moment breathe, letting witnesses exist. "Here," he says calmly, "is exactly where." Julian realizes then that this isn't a confrontation. It's a reckoning. And Amara, standing just behind Han Wu's shoulder, feels something she hasn't felt in years. Not relief. Release. Because for the first time, the man who hunted her is afraid. And she is not the one trembling anymore. Han Wu doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't need to. The cafe has gone quiet in the way rooms do when instinct tells everyone something irreversible is happening. Cups sit untouched. Phones lower. Julian stands frozen, half-turned, caught between arrogance and panic. Han Wu releases his shoulder and gestures once. A tablet appears in his hand, offered by one of the men who has been sitting near the window all morning. "Sit," Han Wu says. Julian hesitates. Then he sits. Slowly. Like a man lowering himself into a grave he can already see. The screen lights up. Security footage fills it. Grainy but unmistakable. Julian in a parking garage, envelope changing hands. A government regulator. A nod. A smile too practiced to be innocent. Julian's lips part. That's not. The screen shifts. Bank transfers. Offshore accounts. Numbers stacking on numbers. Dates. Signatures. Patterns that tell a story no defense lawyer can soften. Then audio. Julian's own voice, recorded, cold and intimate. Threats disguised as concern. Promises disguised as love. Words Amara has heard whispered in the dark now playing quietly in public. Her stomach twists. Not from fear this time,